Welcome to Teach Me a Lesson. I am Elliott G-B, and as always, first off, thank you so much for watching, listening, supporting the podcast. These worlds, we have the days at our fingertips. These days, we have the world at our fingertips, and you could be doing anything else right now, and you're choosing to spend that time here with us, and that is greatly appreciated. Also, if you want to extend your support, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Grentradish, Grentradish. And also, if you want to come see me live, do some stand-up. April 6th, if you are going to be in LA, I will be at Johnny's Pastrami in Crenshaw, doing a great show there, so come check that out. Don't know off top when that show starts. I think it's like 7 or 8. But yeah, so April 6th, if you're in the LA area, come check me out at Johnny's Pastrami in Crenshaw. Also, make sure to follow the podcast on all social media platforms at TMAL Pod for Instagram and Twitter. And then TikTok is Teach Me a Lesson Pod. Again, that is TMAL Pod, Instagram and Twitter. TikTok is Teach Me a Lesson Pod. And boom, if you want to support even more, right there, if you're watching, join the Patreon. That is patreon.com/Elliott G-B, ELLIOTT, where for just $5 a month, you can get bonus content for every episode. So you get something every week. You get a new episode every other week. And on the weeks offsetting that, you get bonus content for just $5 a month. Also, you get a shout out on the podcast. For the new patrons, you get a shout out. And for $10 a month, you get some of my merch, all that stuff. And if you can't hit that much, hey, I get it. We live in a society, okay? This is an economy. In this economy, I get it. Trust me, I'm here too. If you can't afford to do that, but you still want to support, for just $3 a month, you can do that. You don't get any perks, but you get love in my heart, okay? And I'd say that's the best perk of all. So go check that out, patreon.com/Elliott G-B, ELLIOTT. Join there. Also, for free, if you want to support the podcast, besides sharing, telling your friends, which you should be doing with any art or any creative work that you enjoy, do that. Tell your friends, share it, give that artist a follow. Again, it seems like every time with this word. Again, it seems why can't I do this? I graduated high school. Again, it seems insignificant because it is free. What can a like do? What can one follow do? But in this day and age, in this same society we were just talking about, follower numbers, it means a lot. So it seems very small, but it really does help. And also just spreading the word, getting some more eyes on that work does help as well. So do that, share, tell a friend, scream it from a rooftop, but also make sure to rate and review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, rate 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, anything less than that. Just, send an email. We'll talk about it like adults. And make sure you're following and subscribed. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, notification bells on, so you know every time we drop a new video, or maybe in the future go live. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, again, like I've said in future episodes, one of my goals for this year on my vision board is get this podcast to 10,000 listens. Took me a couple years with my other podcast, but I think we can do it, and I need your help. Okay, this is like, they do that in PBS. We need help from viewers like you. But yeah, anyways, let's just get into the episode. It's a great episode. The very funny comic, if you're in New York, he does a monthly show that he plugs at the end, so make sure to go check that out. He also has a children's book, so if you're in New York and you got children, buddy, this is the guy for you. You need to check him out. He has a very good children's book out now, so go check that out as well. This is just a great conversation. I'm really happy I was able to have it. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. Hope you enjoy. Ben Katzner. I do like that sign though. That sign you got up.
Yeah, this over here. Before this, it was free Fetty Wap, but that didn't work out. So we'll just keep it.
So you went with the second best.
Yeah, I was like, all right, you know what? It's March now. We can flip the sign over a little bit. I did a weirdly not. I just did another Zoom show the other day, and he was like, I'm going to ask you some Black History Month questions. I was like, great. Because to me, it still is Black History Month. And it's like, good point.
That would have been hilarious if you were blocking it the whole time and then you just like shifted over. I'm glad you bring that up. Has Fetty Wap been sentenced? I was just talking to someone who had no idea about any of that. And I was like,
right.
Ooh.
For someone who was so invested the day I heard about it, I have no idea what's going on with that situation right now.
Well, it's okay. You're still grieving.
Yeah, free all my guys, of course, but also I have no idea if he might be free, he might be fine. It just feels fucked up, you know. It's a pandemic, and he's a small business owner trying to make a little cash for himself. And he illegally mailed some drugs, and that's a federal offense. Okay, but like if he had a license, we'd be applauding him. He would get a PPE loan for that. So I don't understand what the problem is
Yeah.
right now.
You know, I just want to go to the courthouse and be like, correct me if I'm wrong. You have arrested this man for turning this pandemic into a bandemic.
Hey,
Am I right? That's all I want to know.
He should pay you for that. That's a bar, and you should absolutely be on the next album that he's gonna have to put out to pay for his legal fees.
100%. And then I say it, and they're like, "Bro, we've already heard this like 8 million times over the last 2 years in every song. Everyone thinks they thought of it.
Doesn't matter. It's a beautiful thing. I don't think he's been sentenced yet. I do believe that he's probably awaiting some sort of sentencing, but I mean, I could Google it right now. Honestly, does that ruin the pod if I Fetty Wap sentencing?
Yeah, you know, we're just gonna shut it down.
He was released on 500K bond. Oh, damn, he faces life in prison if he's convicted to the fullest extent. That's so fucked up. I don't know. It seems like he's out. He's fine, probably. It's good.
He's probably playing Xbox. He's cool.
Yeah, you should have him on the pod. You should have him just be part of this.
Let me write that down real
Write it
quick.
down.
Book Fetty Wap.
Let's be honest. It's not like he's not available right now. You know?
I'm like, all right, so what's your lesson? He's like, yeah, don't mail drugs.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I think it's self-explanatory.
That feels like a banger up to me. I don't know where you stand on it, but I genuinely do like that. So that's fine.
I'm like, okay, so like, what do you mean by that? He's like, oh yeah, so pretty much like you have drugs, right? And you got mail. Don't combine the two. Do not put the drugs in the mail. And then that's about it.
That's pretty good. Everyone at home is like, yo, stop it. Stop the words. This man is a genius.
It took me a week to get through the episode because I had to pause it and walk away every time because this man was spitting knowledge. It was shit no one knew.
He said you got the drugs and then you got the mail. Don't mix the two. Don't do that. That's unbelievable.
Bars, bro.
I went to grad school. They never taught me that shit. That's what I would say.
I hit up my university. I requested a refund. I said, why didn't you tell me this? Why? Yeah, I thought I was in school. Turns out I'm in school right now. That was all just a waste.
Yo, I thought that was grad school. That shit was preschool. You know what I mean? Like that was. And they're like, no, we actually don't know what you mean. You paid $125,000 for this, and you owe every cent. We will find you.
Yeah. I went to grad school there, but right now I'm enrolled at FWU. It's Fetty Wap U. Fetty Wap University, baby. And I'm doing pretty well. I haven't mailed any drugs recently, so
I don't even have a P.O. box anymore. You can't find me. You want to send me a Christmas card? That better be hand delivered because we're done. All right.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's if you think you can top that Fetty Wap lesson, let's get into it. I know it's tough. The bar is high.
I'll tell you right now, I can't top it, but I can tell you what lesson I think has been important to me. All right.
Okay.
This has been a helpful one for me. It's taken me a long time to get here, but it's it's a thing I do believe. I believe, and it's kind of cliche, but expect nothing, be prepared for anything. That's the lesson that I like to hold near and dear to my heart.
What do you mean by that?
When I was younger, right, I used to be a person who was like almost paralyzed by my decisions, right? No matter what, good, bad, I was always just like, okay, if I do this, then this could happen, then this could happen, then this could happen, but then that happens, this could happen, and then like my mind would just like spiral out of like universe brain spiral out of control into like any possible scenario that could happen. And then instead of enjoying the moment or making just a quick rash decision, I was truly paralyzed by fear a lot of times, where I was like, well, I don't know how this could go, so I'm just gonna stay in my basement. I'm just not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna chill
Mm,
here. That's the easiest thing because I don't want to get in trouble, or I don't want to feel weird, or I don't want to whatever, right? So I feel like I spent a lot of time missing out on things because I just was afraid that they could go wrong. Definitely that's anxiety, but um and now I feel like I still have that. I have a little bit of that nagging energy in the back of my mind, but now I am much more be present, be in the moment,
mhm.
but before all that, put in the work to be knowledgeable enough to handle like whatever comes your way, whatever that means to you. So, like, if it's a social situation, be like, all right, who's all going to be there. What all the possibilities that could happen potentially, but that's okay. Just know you're prepared for that, right? What if it's, we're comedians. So if it's a comedy situation, it's like, oh, I've never been in this situation before. Don't let that paralyze you. Maybe talk to someone who has been in that situation before and be like, "Hey, what are your thoughts on this? How did you approach this?" And then take what you want from that, right? Like I think it soothed my mind to put in a little of the work before I did some of these things that were causing me anxiety. And then once I was in those situations, just to be like, hey, I'm here now. There's nothing we can do about it. We're
Yeah.
here. Let's just take it as it comes to us. We've already put in the work. This could happen. This could happen. Doesn't matter. Whatever. We're here now and let's be here. So that's a lot of words to say. Yeah, just be chill. Just really really just go with the flow, man. Just like be ready for anything. That's really,
Yeah.
I think, isn't that like a Marines thing where it's like not be
Be
chill,
chill.
but yeah, like hey, you're gonna see some shit. Just be cool about it.
Yeah.
The Marines. I think be prepared. I don't know. There's something about being prepared that it's like a very military thing. I'm not a military person,
Um,
but
I think it is. I mean, I feel like you can't have an effective military without, in some form or another, saying be prepared. You know,
sure,
it can't be like. I
sure.
mean, yeah, if they catch us lacking, like it happens. Like we need
Hey,
off days too.
yeah, we lost a battalion. Everybody slips up. It's okay. Yeah, that was $6 billion worth of revenue in one tank.
Yeah,
Oopsie doodle. All right,
but here's
we'll
the
move
thing:
on.
we print money. We can just make
Straight
more
up,
of the money.
that's so true.
Yeah. There is something about like you need to be prepared. I mean, they in like a very physical sense, they do that all the time in boot camp where
Right.
they're like, all right, we'll
Yeah.
wake you up at like as soon as you fall asleep, we'll wake you back up and have you do crazy shit because you never know.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. And part of that is a very dehumanizing like that is a way to break someone's
yeah,
humanity and turn them into a meat robot. But like I do think there is something there of being like when you feel like you've prepared for every possible situation, whether that's true or not, if you really feel that way, like then you have a little bit of extra confidence going into the unknown, right? You're like, oh, okay, I'm walking in this dark room. Whatever. I've seen this room with the lights on. So I know, there's a bench over here, there's a table over here, whatever. Like, I
yeah,
do feel like there's something there of like, no, 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 no. I get this. I've done this before. Let's just walk, baby, and we'll figure it out as we're going. I think that's real.
yeah. I'd say part of that too is a little bit of the self confidence of just
Hmm.
knowing that preparation or comes from preparation, I guess, and knowing like, okay, I've been in situations like this before, or I've been in enough situations to know kind of I'll land on my feet either way. Like I've been having anxiety with comedy and coming back to comedy and shit after, after
Yeah.
spoiler alert, after all that's happened in the last 2 years.
Is something
Um,
going on in your parts? What's up? Is something
yeah,
happening?
there's a little thing with like
Hmm.
masks going on, but like besides that, it's
Mm.
chill. Um,
Interesting.
but yeah, I mean, I was talking to my mom about it, and just kind of like I got to the point where I was like, I don't even remember my jokes, and this is
Hmm.
after like within the last few months, just taking time off and then losing it within that time, and being like, I don't know, it just feels very weird, and then the fact that I feel so uncomfortable with it is just like making me even more uncomfortable because I'm like, this is my thing, this is what I like to do, this and that. Like, why is this feeling so weird to me? And kind of in that same realm, she's just like, well, I mean, you've always done fine before. So, like, you're not going to forget how to kind of catch yourself
Right.
just because you're rusty. It might not be as quick, but those instincts are still going to be there from being kind of prepared, or like you said, just kind of thinking about what could happen though. But do you think you kind of have to know when to catch yourself of like overthinking and kind of spiraling a little bit?
I think I think there is a thing of like I, I don't know how to like when I'm in something like that. I have a very hard, I don't have the tools. I mean, a lot of people would be like, you should just go to therapy, and then they would give you the tools. And I to them I say, yeah, you're right, but I'm doing shit. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, but like, so sometimes I feel like I don't have the tools to maybe like stop myself from necessarily spiraling or whatever.
Hmm.
But I will say I an effective thing that I can do is just be like, "Hey, you are spiral." Like I need to be like, "You
Yeah.
are overthinking. You are whatever." So like maybe I'm talking it out with somebody, and at the forefront of this, I'm just like, "Yo, just so you know, here's where I am at mentally. I'm just talking, and me talking through it helps me. So I understand that this is a lot, and I'm not going to try to navigate all of these avenues that I'm spilling out to you right now. But um, sometimes I just need to say it. I just need to say, here's what I'm worried about right now, or here's what
Hmm.
I'm thinking about right now. And then, I talk for 20 minutes or something, and then I feel better, which literally is therapy.
Yeah. That's 100% what I do in therapy. I sit
Yeah.
down and I'm just like, all right, well, here's what I did. Like, this
Right.
happens every single time. I sit down, I'm like, here's what I did for the week. And then at some
Right.
point, she's like, okay, but like, how are you feeling? And then I'm like, well, here the fuck we go. And then just like talk through everything. And then by
Yeah.
the end of it, I'm like, oh, I guess this is how I feel about this. And
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, finding that line of where you're like, okay, I am overthinking and maybe trying to prepare myself for all these angles, but there is a point where
Yeah.
this becomes just me going crazy in my head. And even like you said, I'm kind of the same way. It's like I can't just stop, but
Right.
knowing, okay, this is when it stops being somewhat productive and just hurts more than it helps. Okay, now I'm going to kind of take all these thoughts with a grain of salt.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think yeah, you're right. I didn't answer that very well. I think
No,
once
you're fine.
I I think there's like a point where if it's no longer preparation and now kind of like this anxiety,
Hmm.
or maybe like honestly I feel like maybe I'm mentally tiring myself out. Sometimes I
Hmm.
can like if I'm overthinking and I'm like, man, I could go for a nap right now. I'm like, oh, you are that's when I really know that I've been overthinking something. My brain is
Yeah.
just like wrecked, and it's like, dog, you gotta chill the fuck out, okay? So
We need to shut down for
yeah,
a minute.
we're gonna take a just a little baby cat nap, like, I don't know, 2 to 6 hours, and just relax, just chill. Nap straight up, like taking a nap does help me when I feel overwhelmed by the world. I will go
Hmm.
to sleep for a little bit and then wake up just I won't say rejuvenated, but just like my mind has those thoughts have been quieted when they
Yeah,
don't like manifest into like dreams or anything. So that's my tool.
that's funny you say that because I have recently kind of got back into naps. I've been trying to like avoid them because I've been trying to wake up earlier every
Mm-hmm.
day, and so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, I need to be as tired as possible going into the night, so I'm gonna avoid naps.
That's a
But
myth.
the fun, the funny thing is, after I would watch the Kanye documentaries,
Mm-hmm.
but like the next day. Well, I guess so that first day, but they come out at midnight, and I have to stop myself from watching them at midnight. I'd be like, "Oh, we'll just watch it tomorrow." So I'd wake up, work on something, and then watch it kind of in the middle of the day. And then every time afterwards, I'd be like, "Fuck, dude, I gotta take a nap. Like, I
Yeah,
just
because it's
gotta."
a lot to process. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot, yeah,
Yeah, that's hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah. What are we when you're trying to wake up earlier? What time are you trying to wake up at? What are we doing here?
See, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm like, I'll hit like an 8:30, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe lay for a little while, which I
Okay.
don't like that I do, but I'm just like whatever, lay for probably like half an hour.
Lay
Um,
and like scroll the phone a little bit, or like what are
yeah, I
you?
scroll the
Yeah,
phone, but
I got you.
I
Everybody
don't
does.
like
You're
that I
okay.
do it. I
I know.
know, but there was a previous guest who said that she had a routine that was like she would wait, and this is where I'm like, all the shit the artists I think strive to. She's like, I'd wake up before I look at my phone, my computer, anything. I would write for an hour, meditate, and then like go for a run. And now, I mean, like she has a family and fiance and shit. She's like, I can't do that anymore. But
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I feel like that's when you're really fucking in the pocket, and just going for it.
Yeah. And I am not saying this shitting on the person, but you nailed it exactly. Like, that is a beautiful thing and is something that's admirable. And I would love to be at that point. But that is also kind of a luxury, right? So, like,
Yeah.
for me, if I wanted to have the extra time to meditate, write for an hour, do whatever, now I'm getting up at, let's see, let's say normally I should be getting up at like 6:45 every morning. I get up at like 7. Um, but now if I'm doing all this extra stuff, let's say get in just a workout at home, meditate, write. Now I'm getting up at like 5,
Oh my
5:15,
God.
right? And then I'm going to work. And then after work, it's like I'm running around. I might come home for a little bit. I have a fiance too, so I could come home and say hi, what's up? Like, hey,
Hmm.
still love me? Are we still doing this? Are you sure? Okay, I gotta go. Right?
You're not even fully in the door, just peeking in. Hey,
Just
just
like,
want
hey,
to do a quick check in.
everybody, anybody here? No, just you. Awesome, we're still good. So, and then I'm running around and like trying to do comedy or trying to do whatever I need to do after work that day, right?
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily live in a you really, it is a beautiful thing to be able to carve out that time for yourself because like society is not set up in a way right now for us to have that for a lot of
Yeah.
people. So like I don't know, I don't nobody should beat themselves up for not being able to do that, but I do understand the inkling to be like, God, I want to do that someday. I would love to be able to do that because like, yeah, it would be great. But also I'll take what I got. If I can get up and like I try not to look at my phone right away, except it's my alarm. So that's already, you fail
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But, I'll leave it while I go shower or whatever. And then maybe I live in New York for people who don't know. So like when I'm on the train to work or whatever, maybe I'm like looking at my phone, but I've been trying to maximize my time there a little bit more too. So maybe I'm like, reading something I'm supposed to be reading or like writing jokes or whatever. Like there's just a little
Hmm.
that time where it's like I am surrounded by people, but like I don't have to drive right now. So like I can maybe like take that time and be like, okay, here's where I can squeeze in a little extra productivity. Like that's been good for me.
Hmm.
I don't know. I also am like, maybe I'll just never be a meditating person. Do you meditate?
I do. I do.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're so zen. You're always so down. You're just calm as shit. I can't believe I even asked you that question. That's
No, but
amazing.
I mean, I started recently within the last year,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's, dude, honestly, I mean, pause the pod for a second, man. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
I mean, I just use Headspace,
Okay.
and I think it's kind of, obviously it's different for everyone, but I will say, in my experience, and we talked about this in previous episode too, but the kind of like PR that meditating has seems like it's, more wacky and out there and all this kind of stuff, but it's really just like sitting and just learning your mind and how it thinks and kind of not getting attached to thoughts. So it's like
Mm,
you're not necessarily going to quiet your mind and not have any thoughts. That's just not how it works. But you will become less attached to thoughts, and then in that sense kind of learn, like in therapy, the difference between like feelings and emotions and all that kind of stuff, and then just in life. And it really does make you, or I guess it's made me realize like how disconnected I am, like doing stuff. Like I think, oh, I'm doing this, but I'm off thinking about a million different things and just kind of in autopilot doing it. But then through like doing a body scan and shit, like learning like, oh, I can actually focus on my hands and what my hands are feeling. Or if I'm
mm,
walking, I can focus on each step and do that and then not get attached to what's going on in my mind and like physically be in this space way more than I thought I was before. So before I was just like, yeah, I'm here, I'm in it, I'm experiencing it, I get it. But it's like, oh no, I'm off up here doing a billion different things. So
sure.
it's I recommend it, man.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
I think the closest I've ever come to like meditating, which I'm sure anyone who's ever meditated would be like, you're an idiot. But um a couple of years ago we were like we went to Montana to visit a friend. They have like a very secluded, I don't know. They live in Missoula, Montana, and it's just,
Hmm.
it's just out there, right? And then they were like, "We're gonna go hiking. We're gonna go to this mountain. It's gonna be beautiful. You're gonna enjoy it. It is like a 3 mile hike or something, but like you're gonna enjoy it, right?" So it's 3 miles each way. So as you're going up, at first you're like, "Oh God, okay, whatever." But then like somewhere like halfway through that 3 miles up towards like where we're trying to get to, all I was like literally, it's like what you were just saying. I was just focusing on like my next step, or
Hmm.
like eh, there were, or like you would see some imagery, like it was so beautiful, and especially living in New York, you're like, there's this much green anywhere, like
Yeah.
you just, so you're just focusing on what you're looking at or whatever, and like I really was not thinking about anything other than the thing that was like immediately right in front of me and how to approach that. You know what I mean? Where it's just like,
Yeah.
watch out for that log. Okay, we're gonna step over. Like, okay, we're gonna reach up. We're gonna do. And that was like, I truly think the closest I've ever come to like being in a meditative state in a healthy way, at least.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, yeah, it's literally left foot, right foot, here we go for like 2 hours, and then taking in all the beauty of nature, and then the same thing on the way back down. That was great.
Yeah. That's a thing too, is movement meditation, where it's kind of that same thing where you can go for a walk or a run
Hmm.
and kind of do that. But it's so weird because it's like it's not like, again, talking about our fucking society, bro. It's not
Hmm.
something like society pushes or, tells us about. So without kind of feeling it, there's no, it feels weird to describe, it's like you
Right.
can't properly convey it. But then once you do it, it's like that decompression kind of in your brain, where your brain has a moment to relax, and it's just
Right.
kind of like, oh, this is good. So I mean, I like to meditate in the morning, to kind of like, I don't know, start my day off and just be like, all right, it's gonna be chill, or it's, or at least
Yeah.
we're a little more level headed about stuff, and not worked up about anything, which is part of why I don't like looking at my phone right away, because
Sure.
then I'll see some shit on Twitter or Instagram or something. But I don't know, it's just so weird because it is that moment where your brain can be like, okay, we're not just go 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 all the time, and it's still going, but it's like, all right, we're not getting worked up. And then kind of that connection between like your physical being and your physical body and your brain and your thoughts, you kind of realize that too, getting more into it. Because I'll realize if I'm sitting there and I start to go off on something, I can feel my breathing get more shallow and my heartbeat speed up,
Hmm.
and not fully like adrenaline, but I can feel that my body's like, oh, we're doing something. And then so even within that, I'm like, oh shit, not to sound hippy dippy, but I'm like, there's the connection to that, and you really can control your physical being way more with your thoughts than we kind of think. Where they're just like, oh, I don't know, it's your brain. Your brain is being your brain, so just keep going
Right.
on what you're doing. But it's like, no, you gotta have that, like, that sitting rest moment for your brain as much as you do for your body. After a hard day's work, you're like, I just want to sit down and have a beer, or just sit down and do whatever. It's like, okay, well, your brain kind of wants to rest too.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
even with like naps, this is the thing with naps. It's like, if you don't kind of have that and then you get overwhelmed, your brain's like, just shut it down, just shut it off.
Right.
Let's all go to sleep. Let's just do it. So
So
it's
you're
interesting.
so basically you're saying that, my advice for this podcast, or whatever we're talking about, that whatever I am bringing to this podcast is pretty much the antithesis of what any person should be doing. Everything I've said, you're like, yeah, that's cool, but also, just so you know, there are like techniques that can help you handle this a little bit better, and like you're
This
you're
is
you don't have to, suffer through life the way that you're suffering. There's easily a few things you could do. You can just wake up in the morning, just chill for 15 minutes. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down your lesson. I just wrote cry for help, and I think we're really gonna try to get this. We're gonna have some listeners call in.
Yeah.
We're gonna get this handled. Don't worry, buddy. We got you.
Yeah,
We got
I'm
you.
just out here trying to get you, like a better help, talk space, kind of, some sort of sponsor for this podcast, even if it's just just someone who's like, hey man, your ideas are dumb. That could be a sponsor, and that would be directed at me every day. So that'd
They're
be
like,
totally
I'll give you $50 a month to not think that way. How
fine.
about
Right.
that?
Yeah. You know me, big capitalist. So I'm like, yo, $50 a month. Would you take $50 a month as from a sponsor or dinner with Jay-Z? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's a hard thing to figure out. It's
And
tough.
that's a whole nother episode. We don't have time to get into that. Okay. We do not have time to get into that. All right. Well, what's a quick backstory on you for those that are unfamiliar?
So just fully on me, I am currently a comedian in New York City, from Minnesota originally, adopted by white people. Recently, I've been telling the truth, adopted by poor white people.
Mm.
So, so it is a little bit different vibe. I don't want you to think that we grew up with jet skis, but they weren't good. You know what I mean? Like they were the one, they didn't work. They just kind of like
Yeah,
sat in your
yeah.
yard.
They were
But
in the lawn.
exactly. So that, I think that's like a pretty big part of who I am. Obviously, I'm pretty comfortable with it, but I know people always have a lot of questions about adoption and stuff and how I was raised. And I'm like, I was trying to explain this to someone. I'm like, any adoption trauma that I have is buried beneath just general family trauma, is buried beneath just being black in America trauma. So like it's very low on the totem pole for me. Like
Yeah.
any issues I had with that, I feel like I got over. Maybe not got over, but like learned to understand better and navigate those a little bit more as I've gotten older. So but that's it. That's truly the quickest backstory on me. Um I have some siblings. I'm the only one who's adopted in my family. I have an older sister, a younger brother, and a younger sister. I'm the only one that's adopted. I do love, my family. I do have what is this? What's happening? Wait, is this?
Are you therapying
Are
me
you
right
are
now?
you trick therapy me right now? You got to tell me
Legally,
if you
you have
trick
to.
therapy me, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, legally you have to tell me if you're a therapist. I'll say this other thing. We could, I don't, whatever. I have jokes about this, so it's fine talking. But weirdly enough, so as an adoptee, I do have a estranged like I'm estranged, I guess, from my adopted father as well.
Mm.
I so a joke I kind of say is like I'm 0 for 2 on dads. I guess the next one's free. You know, whatever. I don't know how it works, but that is me. And now I think I've been doing comedy for 8 years. It'll probably be like 9 years in September or something. And it has been an outlet to talk about all of that weird shit, and I really appreciate it. That's how we met.
Perfect.
We met through
Yeah.
because we know Jeff, I guess, comedians,
Because
different
we
comedians.
met because we know the same white man, and
Right?
isn't that this country, huh? Isn't that this country still the crux of everything?
uh uh that's really funny. That's how I'm going to introduce not just you but like everybody. I'm going to be like, "Oh, how do I know them?" Through the same white man we all know, That's a pretty fun way to do it. That's
I will
hilarious.
say it is very nice to hear someone else who doesn't exactly know when they started comedy, because the amount of people and posts you see, today's my 10-year anniversary of doing comedy. Today I've been doing comedy for 7 years. It's like, why do you know the day, you fucking nerd? Why didn't you just get blackout
Yeah.
drunk like the rest of us and do it,
Yeah.
and then not really remember? I remember the year ish. I don't remember the
Yeah.
month.
I think I have a rough video. If I were to hop on like Facebook, it was on. That's how long it was. Like a video just posted straight to Facebook that I didn't take, that someone else took, and they just put it up. And I was like, I think this is like my first ish time, probably like third time doing stand up. So I have a rough estimate. But then I was like, I didn't really do. I did it that one time, and I was like, I guess I'm Dave Chappelle now. I guess he's not doing a show. I guess I should get one. But then stopped for like a year or something, and then kind of came back to it. I remember going to Chicago, and we went to the Laugh Factory in Chicago, and there are all these comedians who, a lot of which I know now or I've worked with now, and I just remember watching this lineup of people being like, "Holy shit! No, I want to do this for real." Um, and that's when I kind of consider me starting. So I think I'm kind of like in a little bit of a flux or whatever as far as how long I've been doing it. But
Yeah.
all I know is I haven't been successful in however long I've been doing it. So that we can say for certain. We're totally fine.
So, is there like a moment that you kind of learned this lesson, or since we're talking
Yeah.
about first, is there a video of you on Facebook of when you learned this lesson?
Unfortunately, no, there's no video of this, but there is a moment that exemplifies where I really was like, okay, this is just what it is. This is just how I think I want to, this is how I'm going to be living my life right now. Maybe this changes later, but right now, I think this is how we're going to approach it. So,
Mm-hmm.
this is comedy related. So, it is important that it's not important that I brought up that I did comedy for 8 years or whatever. But uh this was like, again, the lesson being expect nothing, be prepared for anything. Okay. Um I had moved to New York in 2017, and I just my fiance, we weren't fiancés. Yeah, I don't know what you call it. We weren't engaged yet. That's the word. But we were in a long distance relationship. She hasn't moved here yet, so I was living in this attic in Sunnyside, Queens, with a house. It's a house of like six other people, five of whom I did not like. Okay. And so I
Oh
was just
yeah.
out. I was like, it's okay that I'm living in an attic, sleeping on an air mattress. Sometimes I wake up and there's like a roach next to me. Whatever, it's fine because I'm just never going to be home. I'm just never going to sleep. I'm just going to go. I was like, I'm not going to get a job for the first 6 months. We're just going to be out all the time and just doing comedy. That's what New York is, baby. We're going to do the comedy thing, right? So, doing that, you just meet people. They come in and out of your life. They, you get into situations, whatever, and they teach you different things. And there's this guy who we are not friends now. We don't talk anymore. We are not. I wouldn't even. I would be remiss if I said we were truly friends, truly friendly, um, back then. But he did teach me this interesting lesson, and was a key part of this kind of story. Um, so he's just a guy, kind of a shitty guy, to be honest. But he taught me my lesson and this other lesson about New York. First of all, New York. I was like, how do you do this? How do people, I'm stepping over blood every day. People are threatening to kill themselves on the train every day. Everywhere I want to sit is covered in shit already. I can't even, if I wanted to shit on the train, I would have to find a new place to shit because there's shit over everything. And I'm like, how do people do this? And he's like, New York doesn't get easier. It just like makes you tougher, basically. He's like, basically, you walk out of your front door and every day New York is going to like punch you in the stomach and it doesn't stop hitting you ever. Your abs just get tighter or something. And I was like, yo, that was a walk away for me in 2017.
Bar.
That was a walk away from the room moment. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, is unbelievable. This person who, never paid me for a gig, never really made me laugh. Not a great guy. Damn, but that was a bar though. That was a bar, right? So that kind of connected me to this guy. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a chance. Let's see what's up. And we kind of lived in the same neighborhood. So one night we were walking home from a comedy club, and he was kind of just bullshitting. He was just saying some shit. He was like, "Oh, True TV is like looking at me to do a docu series or something." Not true. Uh, I got this new venue. We're gonna get Dave Chappelle there. Not true. Just he was just lying to me basically as we were walking, and
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I don't. Okay, all right, man, whatever. In this moment, we're walking home over this bridge. This guy starts following us. Okay, and I was like, it's two people. It's pretty late. It's probably like 3 in the morning, maybe a little later. And this guy starts following us. And we're like, all right, it's whatever. This is weird. It's New York. It happens. Probably just like, just a unhomed person just living his life, whatever. He starts following us a little bit closer, and we see. he's like got something. He's holding on to something, and he's walking up to us in a way. He's like speed walking up behind us in a way that's
Hmm.
a little bit nefarious, right? So the guy I'm with starts digging in his bag, okay, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what do you got in there? he's like, he's I don't. He's like, I don't have anything in here, but I want him to think that I might have something in here, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So guy's walking behind us. Homie starts digging in his bag, and I'm like, all right, well, I might have to throw down. Am I gonna run or am I gonna fight the stranger? I don't know. I'm like, I don't really like this
Yeah.
guy. I could just push him. I could run home, be safe. I'll see him next Wednesday, whatever. Um, but then, so this guy sees us digging. He sees my friend digging his bag, and he's like, nope, we're not doing this. So it
Hmm.
was very clearly like, oh, he was gonna like run up on us, right?
Yeah.
And and I was like, oh shit, like you just had the foresight to do that. Like you in the moment were like, yeah, I don't have anything, but I know if I do this, it could probably deter this person, which was never a way I'd ever thought in my life before. Okay. I had never been prepared to be mugged in New York. This sucks, but like, I am the person, despite how I sounded, look, and whatever, and I'm a comedian, and I'm a nerd, people will cross, like they are afraid of me at night sometimes, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I am not the person that people run up on, because usually they're like, all right, he's a big black dude, we're gonna go, we'll just let him be. But this little white dude was like, no, 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 right now we're digging in the bag and we're gonna scare this dude away. And I was like, yo, I need to be, this is in this way only, I need to be more like you are ready for what you were like. You've thought about that? I don't know if I never found out if he'd been mugged before.
Hmm.
I've never found out like why he thought to do that, but it was like the perfect thing to do in that situation. He fully was just like, okay, this is happening. I'm going in the bag. We're gonna be present, and whatever happens, we're just gonna face it, right? So he does that. The guy runs away. We're like, oh, hilarious. We almost got mugged. And then, literally 30 seconds later, we hear this sound. We hear like a crack, like a straight up. It was like, yo, what was that? And then we look across the street, and the guy that was following us had some sort of like, it was like, I think it was hard. I honestly think it was like a board, but it might have been some sort of fabricated thing. I don't know. He
Uh-huh.
had taken it and he'd slammed it over someone at an ATM. Okay. He robbed somebody at an ATM.
Oh
And,
shit.
and like, I don't know what again, I really do think it was just like a homeless dude. I'm going to say chilling. That's not the right word, but he just felt
Yeah.
like he was just living his life. Right. And then like attack someone in an ATM, and that person, there was someone like waiting in a car. They were okay. Like we we didn't call the cops necessarily. I didn't call the cops. He might have actually called the cops, but I was like, okay, there's a bus coming. We're gonna hop on this bus. It seems like there's a guy in the car waiting for the dude that just got hit. I think they're okay. You do what you got to do, but like we got to get out of here because this is like a weird situation, right?
Yeah.
But I think about that moment a lot, because I'm like, if that were just me walking, I would have 100% have, I don't, not even just like, my mind's already running no matter what, but like I wouldn't have had the forethought. I didn't have the knowledge before that moment to even think about how to deter a person without either being like, well, I need to sprint away, or I need to turn around, I guess, like crawl at him like a lion. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to, I'm like, I don't know how to handle that shit. And it really like made me think about like, yo, you need to be a little bit better about like, yeah, you don't always have to expect the worst, but you do need to be better about like, bad things do happen, good things do happen. You just need to prepare accordingly. It sounds crazy because it's just a random thing, but I really never once in my life was yo, I'm gonna dig in the bag, because like, I don't know, that's shit you would hear in like a Future song or something. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go to my bag and like grab the strap or something. I'm like, well, I don't have a strap,
Yeah.
so I have notebooks in my bag. All right, so I'm not deterring anybody from that. But I don't know. It was like such this weird, creepy, beautiful, scary moment that I was like, this is something that like I do want to hold on to, and this is the lesson that I've decided to pull from it is that I think this is just a guy who lives his life where he's like, he's always going with the flow. He's like, you want to walk home at 3 a.m? No problem. I'm with you. Let's go. We're hammered. Who cares? But he's always a person who's like, but I'm gonna be ready though. And I
Yeah.
did like that. I really do like that idea. I like that person who's just like, I'm up for whatever. Good, bad, indifferent. I am here. Let's get into it. So that's, I think that moment kind of personifies how I feel about the lesson that we're talking about today.
Okay.
That's a lot. I put a
And
lot on you.
well, and that's fair, but I do really want to know first off. So he kind of imprinted that lesson on you. Did you imprint the lion crawl on him? Did you say, "Hey, if in the future if you don't have a bag to dig in, let me show you a little something that's worked for me."
Yeah. You
And it's the
know,
lion crawl.
our relationship didn't develop to that point. I think soon after
Uh
the trauma of, witnessing a crime together really, you know how that happens, can really split people apart. And I don't think we didn't develop more than that. But someday I would have been like, all right, you're going to get on all fours. You're going to be like, "Rawr," like just your scary Simba, go get him, like that could have been of the lesson we would have taught. I don't know. I There's like this thing in New York where like you're always taught by people who live here who like yo, someone tries to ask you for directions, don't even stop, don't talk to them because they're gonna try to get you. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, so when people like try to talk to me on the street, I'm usually like, fuck off, get out of here. Like I don't have to. I don't know. I help when if it's not super late, if I'm not by, if like we're around other people, whatever, I'll be like, I feel like I'm a helpful person. But there are certain times where like, yo, if you're in an unfamiliar neighborhood and you're like looking at your phone, being like, is it a left? Is it a right? Like, I don't want to say you're asking for trouble, but like,
Yeah.
you are opening yourself up to a little more, just maybe people that you don't want to be fucking with or whatever, right? So in 2017, I was like, just a fucking country idiot. I had no idea how to deal with anything that was going on. And this person who was also not from here just really like, I don't know, he really like awakened something in me that was like, no, be better about this. Be better about surroundings and be just being knowledgeable. And it doesn't always have to be negative, but it should be like, yes, I've I understand where I am now, or I understand that I'm drunk walking home, or I understand, that what my route should be or whatever. So I'm not just like wandering. I really never thought about that shit before because I never had to.
Yeah.
Um, so it's weird when people come into your life and like, you might be like, yeah, I haven't talked to this person in 5 years, but you're like, you did imprint something on me. I do
Yeah.
appreciate this guy for that, for sure.
So I mean that's perfect because I was gonna ask kind of how how this has affected your life or your decisions going forward, or how you kind of have worked it into,
Yeah.
I guess, your decision making. But I mean that kind of fits right into it.
That's where I'm at, and that thing is definitely like that incident is like a small part of, I think, New York in a lot of ways has taught me how much is out of my control, what is in my control, um, and just kind of navigating those waters and just like, I mean, one time something I'm very embarrassed about is one time I was waiting for so much of this has to do with the subway, and that is like embarrassing. That is like my biggest crux here, where I'm just like, if we could if we could just change the way that this transportation system works, I bet I could save years of my life because I do get
Yeah.
pretty upset. But I remember one time, me, my then girlfriend, and like a friend or something, like a friend visiting, we're waiting for a really long time for a train to come, and it is a it is a pet peeve of mine. It just makes no sense if you have to wait like more than 8 minutes for a train in New York. I'm just like, why does the city even exist? I don't understand it. What are we doing? We should be. I'm sure there are places in the world where they're like able to teleport to where they're. I just get
Yeah.
irrational all of a sudden. I'm like, I should be on Mars by now. And I remember a train finally comes, but then it turns out it's like the trash train, which is a train that nobody can ride. It just, I don't know, they're clearing garbage from the tracks and it's obscenely loud. It's like they blow a horn and I'm like, it could like deafen someone, right?
Yeah.
And they just out of nowhere come through. Our train's already late, and they go boom, boom in a way that surprised me. And I am not kidding. I had some sort of food. I threw like a bag of food at the train, and like if it were a person, I would have taken a swing at the train. Does that make sense? Like I was hot. Okay, and then I like looked over at my girlfriend and she was just like laughing and like hand in her head being like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, you're right. How can I can't be this person in this place because I don't have any control over when the next train comes. Or if a train comes, if it's the trash train, I can't just be throwing food at it. That's crazy. You know, like I don't have any control over the good things or bad things that happen in my life. So I want to be able to enjoy the time I have. You know, I want to be in the moment and enjoy the time I have with people that I like, hopefully. So like instead of being pissy about, oh fuck, this train's not coming on time on the platform, I should have been like, hey, I'm with a person I love and a person that we love. You know, that sounds like we're like in like a cuddle puddle on the train platform. But I'm just like, hey, I'm with a woman I love and a friend is in town and like I get to spend time with them, spend time talking to them instead of being mad about all this shit, you know? So like
Yeah.
be here in the moment and know that it might not always work out for you, but just embrace whatever it is that does come your way, you know?
Hmm.
Just have the knowledge to dig in the bag, but you don't always have to be digging in the bag, bro. It doesn't always have to be that serious, you know?
I guess, I mean, thinking about it now as you were saying that, I'm like definitely recognizing like the privilege of being able to live this kind of way. But like if I had a more demanding schedule or a job or like a kid or something where it's like, okay, it has to be way more regimented and scheduled.
Yeah.
Because I'm terrible with timing. I'm always late. It's like a very big struggle for me to try to be on time. Um, but I'm getting a little better. But for the most part, it is like if something like that happens, it's like, oh, I miss this train or I miss excuse me. Ugh, I need to stop drinking fucking seltzer water, dude. This every time I'm like I'm gonna have one, it's gonna be great, and then I burp like every 10 seconds. Um, but if I miss a train or a bus or something like that, uh, really it's been with flights more than anything
Oh
lately,
my
where
god.
I show up a little too late to like check the
Oh,
bag. That has
sure.
happened once in the last couple of years. Because I'm like, why show up to the airport super early? Then you have to fucking sit at the airport and then wait there. Why not just show
Sure.
up, kind of in the window where I'm not there for super long, but I also, can still make it. And then I forget that you have to get there X amount of time to like check a bag or something. Um, and so then being pissed, obviously, and being like, fuck, now I gotta wait or I gotta do this. But then also realizing like, okay, well, being angry isn't gonna make this plane come any
Yeah.
quicker
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
change it at all. And if anything, it's my fault because I took too long. And also sitting here and just kind of breaking myself down over it isn't gonna really make my day any better. I'm gonna be
Right.
upset and I'm gonna kind of let that sit for a second, but I'm not gonna dwell on it and kind of in like the most adult way possible be like, well, what's the lesson we have learned from this? And that
Yes.
is, let's be a little earlier next time.
Right.
Let's try to set ourselves up a little bit, and then this won't happen again. But to kind of, yeah, let that fester and sit and be like, oh, it's fucking. I feel like, especially in New York, too, like you said, it's like the city's going to punch you in the gut every day. Like, it's not like you're going to wake up one day and the city's like, well, we figured it all out. We did
Right.
it. We stayed up
Hey,
late last night and it
yeah.
runs smooth.
We're cool now, everybody. I'm sorry about what
Yeah.
that was before. I was getting a little hangry as a city myself. We weren't ready for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never. I mean, it's just always worse in a different way, to be honest. But it's just one of those things where it's like, if you allow it, if you focus. I mean, maybe my lesson should have been more New York centric, but like truly, like if you there are so many bad things that you can focus on and it will ruin your day, ruin your week, ruin your month, ruin your year, whatever, because there's a lot that could be improved 100%. But when you stop like focusing on that shit, and you're able to kind of like really experience it here and like just be parts of different worlds that like being from the Midwest, I was never be able to be a part of. Like I have truly had some of my most fun nights, you know, best experiences socially or professionally or whatever in this city. And met some really amazing people and fucking, you know, like weirdos I couldn't have met anywhere else. And like
Yeah.
I really it really took me a lot of like, hey, you can't focus on that. Just try to make the best of the moment. I think that's probably really what I should have said. It's just like try to make the best of the moment because like
Mm.
that's all you're guaranteed, right? That's so cliche to say, but it is real. It's like I don't know what can happen literally 5 minutes from now, but I do know that I am enjoying talking to you, and like this is good. So like I should enjoy this. You know, I shouldn't be worried about what comes after we're done. You know, I have to get a pedicure. Who knows? I could lose a toe. I can't think about that. I want to think about how nice it is that I get to see someone that I enjoy talking to and spending time with. You know what I mean? Like that's who
Yeah.
I want to be as a person. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to I want to prepare for what comes after. I don't like going into things blind. I can't let that spiral into anxiety. But once I'm there, you know, I want to be there. That is who I want to be as a person. So
If
get
you
off your
don't, s-
phones, people. Get the fuck
if
off your phone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm on my phone all
I was gonna say, if you don't start fucking meditating, because
day.
all of that, you're like, I just want to be, and I'm like, the answer is,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
but
like you could just Google how to meditate and you can figure it out right there.
yeah,
I will for you, I just during the pandemic, which LOL, not over, but whatever. I was like, I want to go to therapy. I want to start going to therapy, whatever. I got close, but I never ended up going. But like therapy and meditation, I do think will be two huge things for me, and I am excited to navigate those worlds.
or so. Kind of wrapping it up. Are there any books or anything? Well, yeah, fuck. I guess we
Okay,
kind of talked about it.
so yeah, so I don't have a good, definitely not relating to what bullshit I was just talking about, but something I do recommend, especially anyone, I say for artists, but I mean anyone, honestly, anyone who like maybe struggles with a little self confidence, someone who like feels like they maybe have a gift or a talent that is worth sharing with the world, but like maybe have a hard time expressing that. Watch episode 1 of the new Kanye documentary. That's You don't have to watch all three. There's 3 episodes. The third one will just make you sad. The second one's fine. It's interesting, but the first one, I truly, especially if you are an artist, the way this man calls his own shot and believes in himself is just, I've never seeing it, like it's a lot of behind the scenes footage and looking and seeing all like the literal like, you know, not literal but figurative roadblocks that he's dealing with, where it's like people who fucked with him at 1 minute like 1 minute go on the radio and they're like, go fuck him this next minute. Or
Yeah,
like going to like Rockefeller Records and be like, hey, has anyone like listened to my shit yet? No. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna go door to door. I'm gonna do all this shit and just make people listen to my music. And like, this is good music, I promise you, even if no one's playing it, even if no one thinks I'm a good rapper, even if no one thinks I'm worth their time. Like, I know I'm worth it. So I'm going to believe in myself more than anybody else could ever possibly believe in me. And that belief is contagious, right? So watch that. Even if you do not have to like Kanye to appreciate what that first episode of this documentary is. It starts in, I guess he started filming in like 98, and I think it
yeah.
goes until like maybe 2004 or something like that. 6, whatever. And it is just, it like truly gave, I am not kidding, I watched that, and for a week straight I was just like, nah man, I'm good. Like, no, 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 like I believe in myself, like I'm gonna be
Yeah.
all right. Which is not who I am as a person at all. I am so adverse to like saying, no, I think I could get this, or like I think I deserve something. And like I watched that and was like, how, if I don't feel that way, why would anyone else feel that way? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So all this like I have inward confidence, but I would never really let it out. But like now it's just like, and not being a dick about it, but just being like, no, 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 I'll be all right. Like I'll figure it out. Like we're gonna get this. It's gonna be fine. And it truly gave me a boost for a week that like nothing I've watched in a long time has made me feel that way. Everything else I've watched that's changed me for a week has made me feel sad for a week, basically. So this was the opposite of that. So I highly recommend that to anyone, especially anyone in the arts trying to pursue, or anyone trying to like pursue a dream or actualize a vision right now.
All right, well, wrapping it up, rapid fire questions here. I got 3 of them for you.
Okay.
You can answer all of them. You can not answer all of
I
them.
choose
It's
none.
up
All
to
right.
you.
Let's
All
just
right.
get the plugs
Well,
on
I'm
this
gonna
one.
ask them anyways, so that
Okay.
just on record, it's
Sure.
your that's just how you look, you know.
Okay, you're turning
Um,
no's into yeses. Let's go. Let's do it.
so first off is what do you think a key is to a happy life?
Ooh. Wow, what the fuck? You no
Let's go,
prompt
bro.
at all.
Let's
Shit.
go, bro.
Um, I think a key to a happy life is eventually learning to be okay with where you're at in life. You don't have to settle for it. You don't have to say this is all, but you I think you kind of have to start being appreciative and be like, this is this is my life. These are the people that are in my life, whether it's a lot, whether it's a few, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. It is a special thing to be alive. Like it doesn't feel like it all the time, but like the random circumstances that have to come together for you to be a human being are astronomical.
Yeah.
So like you're here, and that's you're here right now, and I don't know. There's something beautiful about that sometimes. God, really? This is how you're gonna make me sound online? All right, people are
Hey,
gonna hear this.
no, and I'll say I've been thinking about that a lot lately too, though. But just, I mean, more so in the sense of in a couple different ways. Just because I think like, yeah, you have to take stock of where you're at
Mm,
to make a change. You know, you can't change anything you're unaware of. So you
right.
have to kind of be, like you said, aware of where you are and fine of where you are in the sense of even if you're not happy, being like, okay, this is step one to make
Hmm.
a change, is I have to recognize where I'm at. But two, I have also thought about uh just the amount of things that have to go right for, you know,
Unbelievable.
you to be born or just for anything to happen.
Yeah.
Um
Think about all
so
the times you
that's not
could have
crazy.
like think of like accidents as a kid, or like parents never meeting, or
Yep.
who know, like, oh man, it's pretty insane to think of all the microscopic little transactions that have to happen for you and I to be talking right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
It's a
only had
trip.
water today. No mushrooms in the water I've been drinking. I just want people to know that we're good.
All right, second question is what's a simple pleasure you have in life?
I think music is one. I think is that a simple does that count? That's I think being able just to like pop in some headphones and just walk around, and that can make me really happy. Um it's a very connecting thing between my fiance and I. We like to go to concerts and stuff. So um, I would say I just a fine appreciation for music is a simple pleasure of mine. Throw on a record, throw on something, and I will probably be able to find some joy in that.
All right, last one. Who's someone you want to work with in the future?
Great question. All right. I'm gonna put this out there. This is gonna have a weird vibe, but what if I was like Joseph Stalin? No.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, who knows? Tracy Ellis Ross. That's what I'm putting out in the universe. You know, Tracy
Okay.
Ellis Ross. She's from, for those who don't, she was in Girlfriends. For those who don't know, she's in some Kanye videos. She's in Blackish right now. So I just got Instagram in 2022, just really ahead of the curve, I would say. Um, and for a while, I was like, my thing is going to be, I'm not going to follow anyone but Tracy Ellis. That changed, but I was like, she's the only person I'm going to follow. And my God, is she a great follow? Okay. So fun.
Really?
She's always doing like fashion shit. She's maybe like mid 40s, but like is just gorgeous. That people in their 40s are gorgeous. I'm sorry. That's not how I meant it. But like, I don't know. She just like has this young energy for someone who's lived a full life. And someday I would like to her, Tiffany Haddish, um, and like a third person. It's just somebody else. But those, I would
Yeah.
say those are the two. Those are definitely the
And
two. I would.
any
I
third
don't know.
person.
Yeah, anybody else you can really just fill out the roster. Tiffany
Yeah.
Haddish for sure. Tracy Ellis Ross is like a crush. They're both crushes, but I think I could make a vehicle that would work for both of them to
Yeah.
be in it. And then if we want to hang out and get married after, we can do that too. That's fine.
Hey, who knows?
Yeah, whatever.
It's 2022. I'm on Instagram now. Who knows what's
Who
gonna happen?
knows? What's your answer to that question? Who's someone you want to work with someday?
Ooh, honestly, it'd be Tyler the Creator. Like,
Sure.
I'm a huge fanboy. I have been since like 2010, since he first kind of hopped on the scene. I saw the Earl video. I don't know if you ever seen that video.
I don't. I'm guessing no. It's not like maybe. I don't know. It's not ringing
It's
a bell.
I saw it. It was on some like skating forum I would go on. Someone posted it, but it's like it's them just literally with like a just a like fucking I can't even think of the camera, but just a camera with a fisheye lens just following them
Mm-hmm.
around, fucking around. But they have like, I mean, this was when they were really in like their shock value era, so they were like
Mm-hmm.
fucking puking up fake blood and shit and like ripping a fingernail off and like all that crazy stuff. And I was like, who the fuck are these? Like, what are they doing?
Sure.
And then yeah, so I just kind of, and also they're around my age, so it was like that was the sense where I was like, damn, in that same kind of Kanye energy, I was like, this dude is doing what he wants, and then learning more
Exactly.
about it and being like, oh, this is a collective of people who have that same kind of energy that I've always wanted to be in, where they're just like, we just want to create and do all this shit. So, and then seeing how he's grown as an artist and shit throughout the years, that's always been someone that I'm just like, we'll get there, but
Okay.
also seeing the scope of how he's like, I'm not just making music, or I'm not just making beats, or it's like these bigger aspirations and all that. I think that's dope. Also, Tiffany
love it.
Haddish should be cool too.
Right. Well, you're closer to her than I am, so just
That
in a
is true.
physical sense, you might
That is
run
true.
into her. If you run into her, tell her that I'm trying to link up with her and Tracy Ellis Ross and just see what's up. Don't
She'll be
even.
like, oh, word. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Don't even like introduce yourself or let her know who you are or what you're trying to do. Just let her know that I'm trying to do some stuff. And
Just come running up out of breath.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, Ben Katzner.
that you're setting the groundwork for me. Help me help you.
Hey,
like if
I got
get
you, bro.
like if we do a movie together, like you think I'm not going to call you to see, I don't know. We might not have room for you actually. Now that I thought about it, this is a full cast. You want to do some
we already
punch
got
up?
that third person.
Yeah.
We got that third person.
Oh,
so,
you could be our third person. There, no. That's good. That's perfect.
I
Damn.
mean, if you'll have me.
You're an idea guy. I love that. Okay, perfect.
All right, man. Well, what do you want to plug? Where can people find you? Who are you?
Sure. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shaq Katzner. Shaq like the basketball player, Katzner, Katzner. I have a graphic novel that came out last year that I wrote over the pandemic. It's called Hello, My Name is Poop. It's about a kid with poop superpowers. It's pretty fun if you're into that. It's like for middle grade readers, but anybody can enjoy the pictures for sure, younger or older, and like I think the story is pretty good. So I would say check that out. You can get it anywhere. Literally just Google Google Hello, My Name is Poop or Ben Katzner and you'll find it. It's fine. And yeah, I mean if you're listening to this and you're in New York, which I don't know, maybe you're visiting, maybe you are lost, who knows why you're there, but I do have a monthly comedy
I can
show.
get visitors, or I can get listeners in New York, bro. Like,
Yeah, I don't know why
you're...
I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that.
You're probably visiting. There's no way you live there.
If you are in New York and you love this podcast, come visit me at my monthly comedy show. It's called Darlings. It's at the Speakeasy in a barbershop in the East Village. It's very fun. We have great lineups. It's the first Wednesday of every single month. And it's a fantastic show. And I just want everybody who's around and into comedy to come check it out. So that's up. That's what's up.
Perfect. All right. Well, Ben, thank you for coming on. Great conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Love it. And again, thank you for listening. As always, tune in next week when I'm back with another great guest. Well, not next week, actually. Tune in next time. This comes out every 2 weeks. Damn, I fucked it up. I am so stupid.
Hey, we don't do that here. No negative self-talk here.
All right.
You are a god. You are a god. All right.
Tune in next time when I'm back with another great guest and another great lesson. Bye.